How we
There
doing?
we are.
Here we are.
What's up, buddy?
How we doing? Yeah.
Doing good, doing good. You know, a year ago today, we actually had a live stream.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm thinking that happened in an off day because we usually do this on Mondays, right?
Right.
And Valentine's Day, we probably took it off last year. Oh, we did one on Valentine's last year, so maybe we missed that Monday.
Well, it's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, you don't have to say that to me.
I mean, I'm kind of just throwing it out there, but
okay. So I just talking to the audience, you're not talking to me.
I'm not blowing in your ear. You're not that cute.
Thank you. Thank you. That's fine. That's fine.
You're welcome. And I mean that with love and respect.
So while we're waiting for people to come in, did you get Mrs. Sacco anything for Valentine's Day? Or are you like myself and Dr. Vera that Valentine's Day is just, it's been advertised, it's been monopolized, it's been Americanized, it's been, when did Christmas come in February type thing? Like, where is this, you need to give me a gift or I need to get somebody something because what? The TV told you needed to. The advertisers told you needed to. Yeah, they guilt you into being like, you need to get yourself, your significant other a Valentine's Day gift. Well, preferably diamonds, and gifts. Like when
isn't it De Beers, the diamond manufacturers, that created, or is it Hallmark?
I don't know.
Or both, or did they collude?
Or one capitalized on the other.
Yeah, right. But it's any combination of those.
My wife doesn't need me, to tell her on February 14th that I love her. I do it every day. So what do you do? I cook her dinner every day. I give her a foot massage every night before bed. What more can I do? Wow. I mean, this is me. This is just me. But listen, since I retired,
making me look bad.
I dove headfirst into house husband. Yeah.
Okay, so with retirement, you got more ability and time to think about these things and do them.
Yeah. Yeah, I have time. I make part of my day. The second part of my day is figuring out what I'm going to make for dinner and making sure that, we have this app called Life 360, and I know when she leaves work. So when she walks in the door, I literally have everything set up. She just has to sit down. She works hard, So I take care of her that way. So what's Valentine's Day, right?
Exactly.
To us, to me, to her, what's Valentine's Day?
Just another day.
Just another day.
Just another day for you. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, yeah. But that's me. That's everybody has different relationships, and I don't believe that somebody should say, "Why didn't you get me anything for Valentine's Day?"
No, my wife likes Valentine's Day, but she respects the fact that I think it's a Hallmark holiday, and I'm kind of like, I should say I love you more, but I say it enough, No, well, maybe not enough, but I say it. I don't need Hallmark to tell me.
Well, when you say I say it enough,
yeah, that's
probably means you should say it more.
I don't think it would matter if I said
my opinion. That's just my opinion. I don't think it matters at the end of the day.
She's supportive reluctantly.
No, I'm sure she's very happy. She's a very happy girl. So what's wrong here?
Oh boy, what's happening?
I knew I was missing something. There we go. add a little more light to the subject. I knew I was
light.
a little dark in here for a minute. So I just kind of lit it up.
By the way, some good news. Boys high school hockey team, NEC champs. There's a difficult and huge Gloucester hockey team.
Yep.
I don't know if you were still paying attention at all, but because Staffia had graduated, but did you? My sophomore year, Staffia was gone, but we almost lost to Gloucester, and Enos fumbled. And so the kid Enos was the big running back and a hockey player. So when Gloucester showed up to Winthrop, they threw a football on the ice.
Ah, nice.
I don't know if you were around for that.
Nice.
That was cold.
What year was that?
83? Well, 82, 83, 83, I think.
83.
Well, the kids, this football season was 1983. The graduation was 1984.
Ah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know what I was doing then.
Anyway,
I don't think I was going to high school hockey games though.
I'm gonna give a shout out here too, and you're gonna so Robert Boncory. So this is Phil's son. His son, which is Phil's grandson. I gave him my personal MVP for the Gloucester game. He scored 2 goals, and but he was hitting hard, and these kids were trying to take our heads off, and he was fighting back. He was my MVP just because he would hit the kids hard.
Well, who got first star? Do they do that in the end of high school hockey?
No,
first
they
star,
didn't.
Second star, third
No, they don't do that anymore.
Jeez, what did they do to high school hockey?
Well, please, you can't wave a flag at the rink. It's a noise maker.
What
no noise makers
did
allowed.
they do to high school hockey? Oh my!
Football and soccer, whatever else goes on.
That's Massachusetts. That's Massachusetts for you.
Yeah, that's the Massachusetts for you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So we got a plethora of things tonight. I don't know where you'd like to start. You want to start?
I just got back from a weekend in St. Augustine. So, buddy, I am on your coattails tonight, my friend. I'll be honest with you. I'm on your. Right. Although I still think the principal at the middle school is the worst principal in the school system. And
I'm getting in trouble for your stuff.
That's fine. That's fine. Let's send them my way.
Oh, I did.
Good. And I guarantee you, no one will send me anything. They won't send anything to me because I'm right. You can't fight right.
Well, I don't disagree in terms of. I think that there's. I don't know if I'd come out and say worst principal. I don't know if I'd go that far or not. I have no idea, but I do know I'm not happy. That's. But
what happened with the submission of another book into the elementary schools? What do they call it? The resource
area for the first grade. It was only in the first grade. Do they think
that just disappeared? Do they think this just disappeared and nobody's pushing to find out?
I just called the school my school committee buddy the other day, and he's looking into it because I forgot. He admits he forgot, so I got to give him credit. But
and they want you to forget. I guarantee you, the woke activist teachers and administrators in that school want you to forget that book is in there, and that they don't want to put another book that doesn't meet their woke activist teacher criteria next to it. They don't want to do that, but they're going to have to.
So I'm going to start. I'm going to start with the flag policy. An update on the flag policy, and it's not a great update, Scott. It's just it's bits and pieces because I've been unable to. I just found out. I just saw an email today from Denise Quist instructing me on how to find the minutes on the website. I just haven't executed. But from what I understand, Rules and Ordinance has been talking about a flag policy. Apparently, the town manager was at the CDICR, so Commission for Diversity, Inclusion, Equity. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know which one.
The Diversity Committee.
That one. And he was discussing it. My understanding is the proposal's likely to look something like this. 3 poles going up in the in the cultural center. So the old E.B. Newton. That is where designated days of recognition. They're not going to be like necessarily state holidays. You know, an example that was given to me was, instead of having Pride Month, maybe we'll have Pride 2 weeks. You know, nobody needs to have a flag flown for whatever.
How about just a day?
Well, that was the
How
whole
about just
point.
a day?
That was the whole point to having my flag party. I don't understand why we're not taking the very smart and cautious route, because look, just to be clear, I said the cultural center was fine before because I didn't put 2 and 2 together, that it's still town property. So as long as they get a legal opinion that says that can't be construed in some way to have to adhere to our First Amendment rights of free speech, right? And they can exclude us, because the trick they're trying to pull here is you're excluding, or you're saying what can. You're not excluding, you're just saying what can be allowed. But obviously, by definition, if you're going to allow a pride flag and not a Gadsden flag, you are excluding me.
And we have said all along, fly it at the cultural center. We have said that all along.
Yeah. Yep.
So we would be hypocritical if we backtracked and said, "Oh, wait. That's town property too. That's what the cultural center represents." I believe.
I mean, to me, it makes sense, and as long as it's legal and protected, I'm not going to make a stink.
As long as it's equal, because remember, diversity, equity, and inclusion means everybody, not just agenda-driven everybody. Everybody, conservatives, liberals, Republicans, Democrats, independents. Hey, what about the people that are what do you call them? Tea Party people. Everybody
they're racist. No, they're racist.
It doesn't matter. Inclusion, equity, diversity, and inclusion. You can't, and they love being selective. They love being selective on who they choose to include. It's a fact. This is not something I'm making up.
But they have legal counsel in their corner. Nobody in Massachusetts is going to take up a case, unless it's pretty clear cut.
Meaning?
You know what I mean? Well, good. I'm sorry, I should have finished that. So, like what happened in the city hall was clear cut, right? Like it was. They were allowing people, and then they didn't,
right?
And they were exclusionary. What they're trying to do here is say, no, we've got a written policy, and this is all that's allowed. Everybody else. So if you don't get on that list,
you can't do that.
Well, but
now you say that is clear right there, because now why are you singling out this whole other group? To me, that's a slam dunk. A lawyer's gonna say, why did you not choose the Gadsden flag? Tell us. You need to explain in court. Explain your reasoning behind why you chose something and why you didn't choose something. So they're setting themselves up, huh?
That's why I was saying, I don't think anyone, I don't know, you think it's a slam dunk. I think it's a little not a loophole, but it's tricky. It's tricky. They're trying to, say, nope, it's on this list and you're not on it.
Yeah, but why? Who made the list? Like you can, that's why you go to court. You find that stuff out in discovery.
This is the tricky thing too, Scott.
What's that?
What Tony said to me was, it's likely going to work around like recognized, for instance, they talked about Italian week instead of St. Patrick's Day, have Italian week or Italian Pride week. Okay. But the tough news for them is the Gadsden flag is tied directly to our independence. Like I can cite all kinds of information for them to read if they like, that backs that up. So you really, if you want to talk about recognized, not necessarily holidays, but events, well, 4th of July is a pretty widely recognized event. And by all means, I think the Gadsden flag should fly. But again, I'm not going to make a squawk about it.
Well, it's U.S. history. I know they love alternate history. I know they love that, and they love creating their own history. But facts are facts, and I'm telling you, they are going to have to answer to why they left what they left, and they better have really good answers as to why they left certain things off. Right? It can't be based on their opinion.
We do have Father Walter in our corner with respect to the fact that he agrees with us from the perspective of, hey, it's very slippery slope you're getting into here. You can't,
And they are. And everybody on that committee, will be questioned when this goes good, because in discovery they're going to find out what, when, who, what, when, where, why, and how, I should say.
Wakefield allegedly, this is a kind of a mirror of Wakefield's policy, and Wakefield's policy hasn't been tested yet, apparently, because I don't think it would hold up. But who am I? I'm not a lawyer. So what can I say?
Right.
What can I say?
Well, we'll have to see when it's going to have to be proposed first, right?
Yep.
And then what? They're going to have to put the standards of what they want to fly and why they're flying what they fly.
Yeah, I don't even know how I don't even know how they're going to do it. That's why I want to look at the meeting minutes from the Rules and Ordinances meetings.
They
so
are
I
setting
can
themselves up for problems.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't know why the town council and the town manager just doesn't say, listen, the flag policy is what it is. We have a flag policy. Why are you bending? And that's the policy that's always been in place. That way you can go off past practice. Past practice means a lot.
That's right. And for the people who are watching and will be watching and will see this is why it matters to pay attention. Elections have consequences. We can, everything that has happened can be undone. You get the right council in there and they can change everything. So, plus ballot initiatives are things too. It's not if you got enough if you got a big enough issue, a ballot initiative, I don't know if it's binding. That's the only concern I have. So I'm waiting to get a legal opinion on that. But
so if a flag policy can be put in place, a flag policy can be replaced.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So do they want to go on this leapfrog thing? Let's keep leapfrogging every couple years.
Yeah, I do. Right. So then what happens is the population has to settle. I think what has happened here in Winthrop, but it might be too late, is this different worldview has been here for a little while, but now they've they've gotten on boards. They got on the council. They got on the school committee. They've become on the planning board. They've gotten in all the. I mean, God, you read this in the books. It's like textbook. They got into all the important boards, and now
fascism. It's all fascism.
Now they're here, and they've made impactful changes. And I'm not saying good or bad impact. Just they've made noticeable. We have bike sharrows. We're going to have a bike lane to nowhere. We have green space. I know a lot of us don't like that word because of what it implies. And by the way, little side note, I've been listening. I don't know if you listen to Jordan Peterson at all, but he had a scientist on, and man, she beat the crap out of the alarmists with it's just
there's so much out there that states that this is the earth is an organism. The earth, it's changed how many times over the 14 million years it's been that we can backtrack it to. It's changed so many times. Earth is an organism. It cleans itself. But no. They follow the agenda. They follow the script. They believe the Pope. I use that term loosely. They believe whoever is in charge of them, that this is what they believe. CNN. That's it. I don't have to say anymore. They believe CNN. I'm not saying we're not good for this planet. We're bad for the planet, but this is something that's going on.
Humans are
We're not going to get into the climate change and global warming.
Humans are a cancer. I don't even know. How did I drive us there? What's wrong with me?
Jordan Peterson.
Anyway, well, moving on from that. So we got the flag policy discussion. Well, it remains to be seen what's going to happen. We get a new council in there. We were talking about how the town's changed. I think people are waking up to the fact that, hey, man, there's a lot more really far left people in this town than we thought. Just in my conversation, so I talk a lot about in private conversations with people about the last election and how Lydia got in Winthrop. She did very well in Winthrop, and it was a pretty high turnout election for us. I think it was like 2,800 to 3,000. I think that's or maybe 2,600 or something. That's a strong turnout. Our biggest elections are 3,000, I think, and we have what, 11,000, 12,000 registered voters. So, you know, it just says to you that, okay, we've got more of a presence than we thought. And it may be too late to get things to go back in the other direction the way we'd like them.
No,
You know,
because nobody is going to run unopposed. We are going to make sure that. I will make sure that. We will find people that will want to run, even if they don't want to run, because nobody ever really wants to run, but they might feel they have to run. No, because you can't. This town council is starting to look like the Soviet Union, the Central Planning Committee, with a rebel yell.
the rebel.
Nobody's going to run unopposed. Nobody.
Mm.
Tracy Horn will not run unopposed.
She's not running. She won't run. So there's that.
Okay.
All right.
But you get the right person. You get the right person, you know, in that spot then. You know?
Well, here's the thing. There's already conversations going on. You're right. We need to start filling seats with the right people.
Yeah.
Because I also, I mean, the trash fee that we're going to talk about tonight, one of the things that Jim and I are at odds at is the trash fee, because he supports this damn thing. And, you know, no, it's to me, it's not an illegal tax. I ate my foot on it. It's not an illegal tax, but still, it's gross. I mean, essentially what you're doing is you're subsidizing a taxpayer funded line with user fees now, you know, so you've added a tax. It's not technically a tax, but come on, it's money going to the government. You want to call it a fee? Ooh, that's creative. It's still a tax.
Do you know? Do you know what Jim's reasoning is? Why he supports it? Have you guys spoken on it?
Yeah. I mean,
without speaking for him, you know, verbatim.
No.
But what's the gist of what he thinks?
We need the money. We need to find revenue. Number one, you know, the same old argument. We're one of the only municipalities in the state that doesn't do it. You know, that's not a winning argument for me. You know, you know, we're doing all these things that aren't work. The whole state's doing all these things that aren't working real well. So we'll do them too. You know, I mean, whatever. And then there's also a question of fairness. So for instance, you know, you've got people who live in Sail Harbor and Fort Heath and any of the 3 families that have been turned into condos. They're responsible for their own trash. So while the renters may not be paying, as an example, into the taxes, I'm sorry, that doesn't apply. So the condo owners now, their property tax, they don't get any trash service out of it. So they're already paying the fee. So you kind of got it screwed up, right? Because now we're all paying $160, except the people in the condos. They don't have to, but everyone else is paying $160 in addition to it. But okay, you got a family of 5, family of 6, family of 3, family of 1. Why is everyone paying the same rate? That's not fair. I mean, you could make an argument right there that that's a completely unfair fee, because it is. So he wants to move to pay as you throw. Ultimately, he has said pay as you throw has been the plan all along, which means you buy bags and you pay for the bags. And
Jeez,
you just,
what is this? What is everything coming to? I mean, when you have to buy trash bags to
wash your trash.
It's really insane.
Wash it and trash is
there's certain trash they won't take. Oh, and by the way, add that in with the water bill. The rates are going to go up.
Going up again. Yep, water
rates are going up again. This is a fact. This is a fact.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It was basically said at the what was the committee meeting? The finance committee last week had a meeting, I believe, and it was stated there that yes, the water rates will go up. So add that on to okay, I'm getting somewhere with this. Add that on to the trash, right? And they wonder why Winthrop doesn't have a more diverse community. And I'm not saying anything other than Winthrop outprices everything around it. Winthrop outprices everything around it. Am I wrong here? Or what do you think?
Well,
the median cost of a house in Winthrop, I'm assuming,
Let's look.
is per capita more expensive than East Boston? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, let's do that. Well, see, it's an unfair comparison because median home prices in East Boston are going to be. Here's the thing. Let me save you the headache. For a single family home, you are not going to find one in East Boston. Really, there's very few. Right?
Right.
It's all triple deckers. But in Winthrop, and for a single family home, I don't know. It's going to be clearly what happens is it gets severely skewed by some of the higher end prices. So, for instance, there was a 3-decker on Court Road that was converted into 3 condos, and I think all 3 condos sold for $1 million or more. So,
right.
You've got some insane. You look at my home. I haven't thought about putting it on the market yet, but my neighbor bought his house for $750, and it was a gut job. I've got.
Right.
I mean, not everything's new, but I don't need a lot. The roof's probably going to need to come due in about 10 years, maybe. It's
so the cost of the house, say the average cost of a house in Winthrop is between $500,000 and $700,000, average cost, right? Between $500,000 and $250,000, $750,000, right? Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Right? Would you agree?
Sure.
Now add in the taxes, add in the fees, add in the rates. You know the income somebody really has to have to move fresh into Winthrop?
Well, it's an interesting point because look, where are you starting from, right? Like that's always the question. And your point is spot on. To live in Winthrop, I couldn't move to Winthrop fresh at current. If I took my situation coming out of college or whenever I was ready to buy this house,
yeah,
I wouldn't have been able to do it at current market rates at that point. And quite frankly, I had help. My mother and I, when I first bought a house, I went in with my mother and I just said, I'll pay the mortgage and then we'll turn it into 2. I turned it into 2
and
condos.
That's what Winthrop was all about. Families flipping houses to families.
That's it.
To children.
And that's it. And that's how we did it. And now I'm here. I graduated over here, but I had help. And I might, you know what I mean? So your point is, I mean, at the end of the day, what you're getting at is, and there's lots of books being written about this, the shrinking middle class, and it's all about housing. It's housing. It's too expensive. But the other part of it is, and I don't think anyone thinks about this. So I just got my gas bill. It's $400 and something, almost $500. My electric bill was almost $600. Okay. It's usually the electric bill is usually 100 and something in the winter, maybe 200. And the gas, the gas is maybe 270, 280 in the winter. It's outrageous. That extra 500 or so that I'm spending, I could be eating in the restaurants down the center. I could be shopping at the local. I wouldn't always have to, it hurts me sometimes to have to go to, the marketplace. I know you pay for convenience. I love the store. They're nice down there.
It's expensive.
All the products are great, but it's expensive.
It's expensive. I was there for 3 weeks and I would go in there every once in a while. I probably went in there 3 times in 3 weeks and I was like, damn.
Yeah. And I understand.
It's expensive.
I understand. Listen, everyone's got to make a living and I'm not knocking anybody.
Yeah, you can't knock them. The prices they have are the prices they have to make money.
They'd get me more often though if I didn't have, right? I mean, I'm sorry. The center district is lousy with was lousy with empty buildings, and there's plenty of failed businesses in Winthrop that have happened because people, whatever reason, discretionary spending money is becoming more scarce.
Now, I know the town has to do what it has to do to survive, so it's kind of like, with Jim saying he has a job to do, And if he sees, the ultimate goal is to, pay for trash, what is it? What'd you call it?
Pay as you throw.
Pay to throw, right?
Pay as you throw.
Pay as you throw.
Colloquialism.
So people have to go down and buy 5 trash bags a week from the town, right? Or they would have to, and then what? How much are the trash bags? That's,
they're gonna. Right.
This is
That hasn't
insane.
even been proposed, but I'm sure they're going to sell different sizes. Right. Look, it is being done. I have not talked to any other community about it. Here's the thing. I want to stop it
Yeah.
because I do think it's a gross and disgusting tax. I understand that we are budget strained, but let me tell everybody in this town something who's working still and paying for their own health care insurance. You're paying probably 20 to 25% of your premium at your company. The town of Winthrop is only getting 15% from their employees. It's unfair. It's been going on far too long. 15%. And by the way, this is statistically true. Public sector union labor forces are typically older, meaning people stay longer. They have many more health issues. So their premiums are more expensive. And I actually, this was proven true because when I took my job at Weed Maps, the healthcare was cheaper. And I realized it must be because Weed Maps was a very young company. The average age was probably 30 years old, right? When your premiums are set based upon, in a mass employee base like that, based upon your claims experience. And they factor in, the actuaries figure all that stuff out. But the fact of the matter is, we're getting killed in healthcare and pension. I mean, pension takes a big chunk of money every budget cycle before we even talk about anything else. Pension has to be, and we are very good about funding our pension debt, which is great because a lot of municipalities, when that pension debt comes calling, there's going to be people saying, "Why is my pension money numbers going down? How come I'm not getting the same size check I used to?" It's happening in California now. And the CalPERS program is a freaking mess.
And how many town employees are there?
Oh, good God! The school's got what? They're close to 400 when you count everybody, and then you got, I'd say probably somewhere around the order of 600 or so, 700.
And they pay into it.
Yeah, they do. They pay into it.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, Scott, and I'm not. This is just a statement of fact. You always take more out than you pay in. Always. Because you get paid until you just get, if your best 3 years happen to be like a lot of the police were doing with all the overtime.
Yeah, we call it high 3 in U.S. Customs.
Yeah. When your best 3 years are 100 and something, and you're getting 80% of that for the rest of your life, that's a big nut. That's a big nut. And that's why they failed in the private sector. They got rid of them because they're pyramid schemes, and eventually they catch up with themselves.
Well, I know I'm getting more than I put in because I retired when I was 56, and I plan on being around for a long time.
Don't go anywhere.
But most of the cops in Winthrop can retire at that age too. I believe law enforcement can retire. Any law enforcement can retire at 56. Considering the job that we did and we do, it's. You want to get out at 56. I don't think you want to.
Yeah, no.
You don't want to be around unless you do the drop program, and that's usually only for a few more years. I think the average police officer now probably retires at the oldest 60. At the oldest, I think. That's because again they'll do the drop program in the last 4 years, and that's a money grab. But I don't know if Winthrop has that.
I don't know either. So I think there's an important point to make about the trash fee that everybody listening needs to understand. Assuming the budget line right now is allocated at $1 million. If the plan is eventually to go pay as you throw, meaning you, sir or ma'am, need to buy your trash bags or we will not pick up your trash. If that's the plan, then that current $1 million that's allocated to that budget line will now be brought back into the general fund to be reallocated. So what does that mean to you? Well, it means something that you have been receiving services for, something that your property taxes have been giving you services for the last 100 plus years, I would think, or 60, 70 plus years, whatever it's been my whole life, and I'm 55, 54. Is gone. And so now you can actually look at that because your tax in your mind, Winthrop citizen, your tax paid for your trash. Now your tax does not pay for your trash. Or does it? However you slice it, as far as I'm concerned, this check I'm writing to buy bags or to give to the town is just another tax. And so it just feels filthy to me to begin with.
So what's the process of how does this pass? Where does it start? Like, I'm just a bill, just a regular bill. Give me a conjunction junction version.
I'm going to give you only what I know, and it's not exact, but it's close. Okay. I mean, maybe Wendy's listening and she'd like to chime in because she's the enterprise fund manager, if you will. They've created the enterprise fund. That's done. So that 160 goes into the enterprise fund. That is a completely legitimate and legal thing to do. Now it rules at the policy committee. Policy is looking at forming a trash policy to present to the council for vote. When the council votes on it, it becomes the rule of the law of the town, if you will. Leo's bored. Huh?
Leo. I'm sorry. Damn, Leo. What? Let's stop right now. Stop the show for Leo. For one time.
Slow it down for him a little bit.
Yeah. We got it. Okay, Leo, give us a topic you want us to talk about. Just message in. What would you like us to talk about, Leo? We're all yours. The show is yours right now, Leo asks.
He wants controversy, Scott. I'm not giving it to him.
I want to know what he wants us to talk about. If this is boring, then, well, we always listen to our audience, don't we, Todd?
Yes, we do.
Right? We listen to our critics. We listen to our fans, so to speak. I use that term lightly.
You might have.
I want to know, Leo's he watches the show all the time. I know that for a fact. But I'd like to know, like, he's had, 30 seconds now to respond. It's a 12-second delay. So what would he like us to talk about? We stopped the show for you, Leo. He stopped the show, and we want to know what Leo has. You're delaying the show now, Leo. So now you're getting into it's almost dead air. We don't want dead air. He either walked away or he's laughing. I don't know at this point. Who knows? But he's got 5 more seconds to give us what he wants.
He derailed the show. I think he might have hung up. Got offline. I'm out of here. Click.
He dropped. Okay. I'm sorry, Todd. Well, it's Leo. Yeah. What were we talking about? What were we boring Leo about?
We were boring Leo with the trash fee. We're going to bore him with this last piece I was trying to get to before he yawned.
It's not even there anymore. I don't even think it's there.
Either it doesn't matter because I was coming to the end of it. You wanted to know how it got done.
Yes.
It goes to the vote of the council. The council, then it becomes the law of the town. We can try to stop it with a ballot initiative, which would require somewhere on the order of 300 to 500 signatures or something like that. I got to look into it, but you got to write the right ballot question. And I don't know if that's binding, but I'm going to be looking for some help if I do this. So if there's anyone that wants to private message me that might be interested in just helping me get the signatures, I've already got some help to write if I'm going to move forward with this, I'm going to have I already have some legal help to help me write the question or the motion or the whatever they call it. So, but okay, we'll move on from the trash fee now, but it's not over yet.
This ain't over.
No, but here's so this might be good for Leo. ORC, we reviewed the ordinance review committee again. The newspaper had some articles today, and I thought I had to read them.
What the what? What did you call that thing?
Not so newspaper. I'm sorry. The birdcage liner.
There you go. The transformation
about the charter, the council's vote on charter change recommendations, and basically the article, like you would expect, just kind of goes through what votes were taken and whatnot. And I don't want to read the whole article, but I did want to share some of the things I thought were important to share. That I'm catching a little bit of heat, maybe rightly so, from a couple of my friends that sit on the council because they think I should let this thing go. And I have let go that our proposals didn't make it. What I'm struggling with right now is I'm being asked to reconcile the irreconcilable in my mind. And that's a real struggle for me. And so as I go through this article, there's a couple things in here that that I've highlighted that will help you understand what I mean. So first of all, so I've highlighted this why. Okay, so again, this article talked about the votes, the council voting on some of the proposed changes, and it went into what some of the council members had to say. For instance, Council President James Lettieri said that the recommendations from the ORC on the council composition and term length were part of an effort to increase participation in elections and potentially attract candidates so there are more contested races. But a number of councils said those recommendations would either not achieve that goal or would weaken representation for the town's residents. So this is example number one of the disconnect for me, because they've been arguing, this certain faction on the council has been arguing, representation. We wanted to shrink the council. They were concerned about, well, that's two less counselors that people have access to. Well, full stop. They didn't use any, all they said was like that was their argument. It's two less counselors for people to have access to. What wasn't discussed is, number one, nobody gets any phone calls or emails of any magnitude when they serve. The council president is probably going to get the most by a long shot. And I think even Jim Lettieri will tell you it's not overwhelming. And he's getting them the most by a long shot. So, okay. The other thing is, we have 14,000, let's call it 12,000 registered voters in Winthrop. Now, I understand they're thinking about the whole town. And it's fair to think about the whole town, but it's also fair to say, look, if you are having 85% of your races uncontested, if the people that are doing it reluctantly, thank you for stepping up. I really appreciate it. But if they're doing it reluctantly, they're not giving their best effort, and that's just a fact, then you don't have a winning combination. And I think it's worth shrinking. We thought it was worth shrinking the council by 2, because if you get 3,000 people to vote, and those would be the people paying attention, and those would be the people reaching out to any counselors, that would be a lot of people. 9 counselors for 3,000 people isn't enough coverage. That's like, we're over covered. If you think about this,
that's a quarter of the population,
right?
Just about a quarter of the population.
And so that's the first piece. Like, so now, forget that. You talk about coverage. Let's presume I agree with you on the coverage bit. Okay, well, you counselors who voted against this thought about is weakening representation, but what about the rest of the town? Why did you get to decide? Right? Again, that's that incongruent thing for me. You're fighting for representation, yet you took away a choice. So there was that. Then the article goes on to say, wow, my light's bad here today, huh? I think it's important to remember that representative government isn't about square mileage. It's about people, and it's important that the residents have someone to go to, said Precinct 3 Councilor Hannah Belcher. That's true. She goes, we already debated that first part or discussed it. There's a clear division of responsibilities. Precinct 3 has some very unique issues, and I would hate to see their representatives get pushed away. Their representation get pushed away. Again, it's a valid point, but at the same time, did the arguments from the other people not make you happy? We had Nick, who was the precinct councilor, Nick LeConte. Was it LeConte? Whatever. I can't remember his last name. Forgive me. Sorry, Nick. I really am. But we had Nick for all those years, and I'm sorry, not much change down the point. That they still have the same problems now that they had then. But that's irrelevant. Maybe I'm knocking on him as a counselor because I don't think he did very much as a precinct counselor. But your problems are my problem. The airport's just as much of a problem for me as it is for you, as is mass water. I don't have them flying down my street at the end of the workday, but and I know you have the beach traffic, and again, they have to drive by my neighborhood to get to your neighborhood. So I'm sorry, I'm just not buying that argument. But here's the big one. Okay, this is the big one that speaks to the real challenge that I have with their position. DeMarco said he would rather let the voters decide on the length of terms. DeMarco basically went through the whole meeting saying the voters should decide. Jim Lettieri said the voters should decide. Of the three, Belcher agreed that the voters should decide on length of term. I guess of the three suggestions for council composition and terms, I think this, meaning the length of term, I think this has the most merit on both sides. So first of all, she determined right there, and I'm sorry to do this to you, Hannah, but this is a struggle for me. I think this has the most merit on both sides. How did she determine that from her council president seat, number one? And then she went on to say, and I'd like to see what the people want, she said. So on this one, thank you so much. You get to let us vote on that one. I mean, I hate to be rude like that, but that's exactly, whether or not she intended it to come across like that, that's exactly, how do you reconcile democracy with that? You took away the people's choice. You took it away. You didn't let us. This isn't about I lost. This is about how do you claim democracy and blah, blah, blah. And don't fall back on the people told you to vote, because I can tell you that, you know what? The charter does not say to vote. They keep pointing to this place in the charter. I meant to read this, section 9.6. So first of all, about the charter, okay? If you read the charter closely, and if you read this section closely, you'll notice two things.
This is the town charter. The town charter.
The town charter. There's a section 9.6, periodic review of charter and ordinances. Review of ordinances not later than the first day of July at 5-year intervals in each year ending in a 5 or in a 0. The town council shall provide, keyword provide, for a review to be made of the ordinances of the town for the purpose of preparing a proposed revision of recodification of this or recodification of the same. Such review shall be made by a special committee, again, keywords, to consist of 9 members who shall be chosen as provided in section 2-10A. Vacancy shall be filled in manner of original appointment. The special committee, which shall be referred to as the Ordinance Review Committee, shall file its report with the clerk of the council not later than the first day of May, blah, blah, blah. The recommendations of the special committee shall appear on the council agenda for action before the 15th day of May in said year. Okay, shall appear on the council agenda for action. That means a vote. So I have to agree that means they have to vote, but bear with me. And it should come before the council at the next regular meeting. No other business shall be by roll call vote. The review of the town ordinances shall be under the supervision of the town attorney or special counsel appointed for that express purpose. Okay, so I want to stop there. So I highlighted those 3 things, Scott. Those 3 things, if you think about them in context: 1, ordinance shall be under the supervision of a town attorney or special counsel for the express purpose. The town council shall provide for, and it shall be conducted by a committee. I believe, and most others believe, clearly is meant to intend that the spirit is, this is meant to be taken away from the council needs to have limited input on this.
Yes, exactly. Right? That's right? Exactly what it means.
And then when you layer in on that American style government of, for, and by the people, right? And yes, we elect our representatives to not handle, because we don't want to be handling the minutia. That's John Munson's argument to me. We're not supposed to lay down our better judgment, and so that the people can handle the minutia of how we're governed. That was his quote. This town ordinance review stuff is not minutia. Fees, parking tickets, parking ordinances, promotions, hiring a town, that's minutia for the townspeople. But how we are governed is the biggest thing in town government. So, again, you're asking me to reconcile the irreconcilable. It's really hard for me to do that. It causes trust issues because it is so incongruent. You're either deliberately obtuse about my concern, which is bad, or you don't realize it that you are that obtuse and that disconnected. Like your two ideas completely cancel each other out, which is even scarier. So that's kind of why I wanted to go into that, because I've taken a lot of crap for it, but I am really uncomfortable with the fact that my elected officials only care about the people that agree with them on the ordinance review work. That's pretty much what they said.
Are you surprised though?
By one.
By one? Yeah.
By one of them. Yep. Only by
All
one.
right. Yeah.
60 seconds. I'll run if you run. Leo, what do you want us to talk about? You running?
He said he'll run if you run.
I think he's talking to you.
No, I can't. Yeah, I'll be a Zoom councilman. How's that?
Not it.
Hey, if you ever decided to run it and then say you got elected, you'd have to stop doing Winthrop votes.
Would I?
I don't know. Would you?
Is there a
would there be a conflict of interest? Would it be like you couldn't go after like the school committee or anything because you're on the town council?
I would have inside information, right? Because I'd be sitting in the executive sessions getting any information about that stuff that it'd be risky. I
don't think you would be as how can I put it, as candid. Like, we get Rob on here and he can't say anything. Rob can't really say much. He says a lot, but he doesn't say a lot. You know what I mean? Because he's limited to what he can really talk about because he's on the council. Like he can't have, okay, so say I meet Rob down the center and we're kind of just, having a cup of coffee. Then he can talk to me and we can like kind of be open. He can't do that you wouldn't be able to do that on the show. And I think this show serves the town better than the town council sometimes.
Yes, Ron had a talk show, but he definitely had one, but
it was safe.
Yeah, I mean, it was safe. It was
very safe. Yeah. I mean, and good for him, man. You know what? The guy, I always give him credit. You know what I mean? He was like, he was a little bit of an outside the box thinker by doing that stuff. Using the media that's available and the medium that's available. And he did good. He made a little name for himself in Winthrop. And people watched. People love that local access stuff, buddy. They love that stuff.
Oh God,
we're just a step above it, but we can be. Sometimes we're like local access.
Yeah. Oh, God. Well, by the way, this is all kind of timely stuff because there is an election in November, and to Leo's point, we're gonna have some people running. We're gonna get some people moving and shaking. I mean, I've spoken to a number of people post ORC vote, and a number of them who hadn't been paying attention, who got filled in, were like, really? Like, why? Like there's some interest in changing the council and changing it fast. So we'll see what happens. I mean, you've got seats up. You have Precinct 6, which is Ruggiero. He's up. Like I said, like you said earlier, Tracy Honen's up. Jim's up. John Munson has to run.
Precinct 2. Who's in Precinct 2?
Precinct 2 is Munson.
And that's Kurt. We know Kurt's going to run against him.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
That might be the race to watch. That might be the race to watch.
We need to pick up 2. So we need to pick up Honen's seat and we need to pick up Precinct 2. Or Precinct 6, but I don't know anybody running in Precinct 6 that can. I don't know enough people in Precinct 6 to even start talking to them. And the few people that I've been privy to the conversation.
What area is Precinct 6?
It's the Highlands. It's the Highlands down by, I believe it's the Highlands down by the Arms versus the Highlands down by the Dunkin' Donuts and the housing, that area. That's
and
4.
Who represents them right now?
The 6 is Ruggiero, 4 is Flockhart. Flockhart's up too, by the way, so she might have some competition.
And where is she? 4 is what?
4. That's the other half of the Highlands. The Highlands is split into 2 precincts.
Okay. Right.
So down by the beach, you know what I mean, and that way going out towards Beachmont.
Yeah.
And then the other side, that's weird. I haven't looked at the map in a while, so I'm not sure exactly where the lines are, but
right.
Yes.
Okay.
But the few people I've spoken to in the Highlands that, or I was privy to the conversations, were like, if it was 2 years, Leo, we need you. If it was 2 years, they'd run. But 4 is a big commitment, which is why we wanted to shrink. So in my 8, 9, 10, whatever it is years of being involved in local politics, I can tell you I've either spoken to or have been privy to conversations with people about getting them to run, about 15, 20 people. And all of them in some way, shape, or form have said it's a big commitment or it's too long, maybe 2 years, 3, you know what I mean? And the folks on the council now are saying shrinking the thing to 2 years, it doesn't help. That doesn't solve a problem. It absolutely could potentially solve a problem. Let's try it. But anyway, so Leo's in precinct 6. Come on, Leo, you want to run? You can beat Ruggiero.
Well, we got to see what Leo's. He has to be interviewed.
He has to pass muster.
Leo needs to be interviewed. Everybody, there's an interview process, Leo.
No, we're desperate. I'll take him.
I know. Let me see. Who's on first? Mr. Duffy.
Who is on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third.
I'm in one and have no idea. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, and no, we're not safe. The same person said, "Why you're not safe?" Not really.
No,
we're not really. We don't play it safe.
No.
Although some people wish we were more radical, but can't be. We have to be kind of, It depends on the issue.
I guess so.
Yeah. Let's see what else. What else is there? There's really. I see that. I don't want to get into the middle school. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough time. I don't want to go into like a 90-minute show.
Okay. I don't blame you.
Yeah. But the middle school is still up to its old tricks, up to its old, activist teachers. They're not going under the radar. That middle school is not going. So when does the dress code gets approved every year, correct?
You have to. It's in the handbook, and that has to get approved every year.
So this year we're going to make sure it gets read, correct?
Oh yeah, I've been
and gets questioned, right?
Yep.
As to and they they can come up with this 14th Amendment BS all they want. It is not going to fly. Nothing the middle school does is going to fly under the radar anymore. Just expect next year on the first day of school, they're going to be asking kids their pronouns, et cetera, instead of saying, "Hey, how was your summer?" Like they used to say, "How was your summer?"
I know you don't want to get into this, and I'm going to just plant it out there, and we'll, as it comes up, as we talk about the middle school, we'll bring it up again. But I can't prove this stuff. I mean, I could if I was allowed to prove this stuff, but I do think it's worth mentioning. There's a junior class English teacher. Okay, I don't need to get into the specifics at this point, but they were talking about politics. It's a freaking English class. I know it happened. I know the child and the parent. My sons have friends in school. Of course, I know.
Yeah.
I dare say I know it for a fact. I mean, I know these people.
What was the gist of the conversation? Was it an argument between a student and a teacher on what's going on in America today? What's going on in the White House today? What kind of politics were they talking?
In fairness, I don't know the context. I only know that a couple of statements were made about derogatory statements were made about DeSantis and the Republicans in general.
In an English class.
in an English class. A very
So
popular
why doesn't
English
the
teacher, by the way.
and this is the
Apparently a
middle
very
school.
popular very popular teacher, my understanding.
So could that be looked into?
Not unless you have willing participants to share who they are and provide the proof to the principal or to the superintendent. Nothing can be done unless because it is, I mean, in fairness, it's hearsay.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you and I could sit here and say we know it for a fact, and maybe we do, right? Maybe we do.
You know it. You know they are. They,
I mean, I know these people wouldn't lie to me, so there's that.
Yeah, I mean, activist teachers, they're all dug in like ticks on an Alabama hound in that school system.
And by the way, in every single case where I was given information about some type of inappropriate behavior, conversation, actions, whatever, when it came to
fruition,
activism and teachers, activist type teachers in the schools and what it's been true. It's eventually down the road come out.
Yeah, yeah.
Leo,
if you see something, say something. No, he's right. He's right. I mean that goes both ways. Goes both ways.
I agree.
But, you know, if you don't say anything, then it never happened. Like the whole tree in the woods thing, right?
If no one hears it fall, does it make a sound?
Does it make a sound? Of course, it makes a sound.
No, does it? Because sound is vibrations in the air, right? If sound is vibration in the air, and your drum has to pick up the vibration to make a sound, I don't know.
Have you ever seen a tree that never made a noise when it broke?
If no one's there to hear it, because it's just vibrations.
Yeah, well, I guess I guess the birds don't hear it. I guess only people.
Well,
I don't know.
The birds aren't there. That's the question is supposed to be the tree falling in a vacuum, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Put that forest in a vacuum.
I still say, of course, it makes a sound. Of course.
You can never. It's an unprovable question.
Okay. We can debate that.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sure it's it's. Anyways, all right. Well, that's it, buddy. We came up on an hour.
It's done. 1 hour. We could have ended early too.
We never seem to do that though.
No.
When are you getting chickens, Todd?
When you are successful in fixing Bill Schmidt's foolish 10 by 10
Kurt's going to be on next week. Kurt is on next week. He's slotted for next week.
Look at this. Kurt, are you in?
Kurt's on next week. He doesn't have a choice. I'm telling him he's on.
He wants to get a chicken coop, and apparently Bill Schmidt's made it a nightmare now. And it used to be you were off, had to be 5 feet and 2 feet.
Yeah, now it's like 10 feet and something. And
you got to put it in the middle. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway.
Well, Kurt's coming on next week. We have, he always has good budget information, and he is a wealth, a plethora. I think you already used that word
many times. Yeah. Yep.
Plethora of he says, I guess, yes, you will, my friend. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. So bring your A game, buddy, which you always do.
Yeah,
Kurt always brings his A game.
I'm prepared to light the candle.
And have a good background, Kurt. If you're gonna be on camera, make it look good.
Make it better than mine.
Well, yours is yours. At least you don't have the red light flashing anymore. Like you're on the deck of the Enterprise when they're in a meteor shower.
I was thinking about lighting the room up red in honor of
Valentine's Day. Yeah, okay. All right, buddy. Well, good show.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna change it up tonight. On my way out. Again, I like you do, Scott. I should do more thanking of the people who watch. It's really appreciated. I mean, we need people to watch in order to have a purpose. And I think because you watch and share the information, and hopefully you'll start sharing the videos too. We are making a difference. We are heading into election season. It's never been more important to pay attention to your local politics. If you care about your house values, if you care about the direction of the community, it's not just about, whether you have kids in the school or not is irrelevant. It's the biggest piece of your budget. It's never, ever, ever in American history been more important to pay attention to your local elections and get involved to the degree that you can. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.
Absolutely. We were off for 3 weeks in a row, and last week we came back on, and I think by the end of the week we had a couple hundred views.
270.
270 views. You know, you people are paying attention. You're watching, and we do appreciate it. We're not always right, maybe, but you still stick with us. I'm sure there's viewers that don't like us, but thank you. Honestly, I'm not going to be a smart ass for watching. We wish you would participate more. If in fact you do have an opposing view, we're always respectful. I always say this: nobody's going to get, snake bit coming on talking to us. Nobody. We won't do that. You'll get treated with respect, and that's that. That's what we do. And nobody has ever come on this show and left going, I can't believe they did that to me. You know, usually they come off thinking you guys are better than what I thought you were.
That's right.
But anyways, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You are the engine that makes this machine run. Without you, it'd just be me and Todd talking. And we do this anyways, but we just decided to let you guys in on the conversation. That's how this all came about. So with that said, say goodnight, Todd.
Good night.
Supposed to say goodnight, Todd.
Good night, Todd.